So the Ukraine, so the name Dnipro, so I just went across. So there's a missile cultivation there, and so we'll see later about it. So we have a lot of geography on Ukraine itself. So and so the Tsarist established the policy of Russification, and they suppressed the use of Ukrainian language in print and in public. So the 19th century World War One and Revolution. So there's a romantic nationalism and Ukrainian intelligentsia. So the national poets are Taras Shevchenko and political theorist Mikhailo Drahomanov. And lot of invasions and a lot of things. And so there was a trans-Siberian railway opened, and so that is known as a green Ukraine and far eastern areas. So the population is known as a green Ukraine, and so at Zluky was an agreement signed, and so the Black Army was an anarchist movement. So there was a white army under Denikin and a red army under Trotsky. So know the difference about um, there's a piece of Riga, and so Western Ukraine, Carpathian Ruthenia, and Bukovina. Bukovina. And so military organization and nationalism, a lot of things. So interwar Soviet Ukraine and Russian Civic War, Russian Empire, Russian famine of 1921 was faced. So there was a Volga-Ural region affected, and there was a policy of colonization, indigenization, and women's rights. And Joseph Stalin became the de facto Communist Party leader. So the Dnipro hydroelectric station under construction in circa 1930. So you know who must have taken the picture? Guess it. And so it's about the scan the picture of it, and so there was a great famine, Holodomor, and millions of people starved to death. And so it's the definition of genocide, but the Ukrainian parliament has acknowledged it. And two future leaders of Soviet Union, Nikita Khrushchev and Leonid Brezhnev, and so a lot of different kind of names. So so the World War II, there's invasion of Poland, and so there was Paris Peace Treaties. So the Battle of Kiev, it was acclaimed as a hero city because of its fierce resistance. And World War II, and still the situation was worsened by famine in 1946-47. It was Sergei Korolev, nephew of Zaitomir, the head Soviet rocket engineer, and resigned during the space race. There was a Chernobyl disaster, the worst nuclear reactor accident in the history, and so so the currency, hryvnia. So it is like hryvnia. So three forms of pronunciation. So it was introduced in 1996, and um, so there's Orange Revolution. So there was carousel voting and dead soul voting, and Euromaidan and 2014 revolution. Then civil unrest and Russian intervention. My God. So a lot of political and news about Ukraine. So the historical maps of the state, and we have geography, politics, economics, demographics, and culture, and that's all. So we have only five more, I think. Geography of Ukraine. So it's the 46th largest country after South Sudan and before Madagascar. Second largest country in Europe. after the European part of Russia and before the metropolitan France. So landscape of Ukraine consists mostly of fertile plains, steppes, and plateaus crossed by rivers such as Dnieper, Seversky Donets, Dniester, and Southern Bucks, and they flow south into the Black Sea and the smaller Sea of Azov. So southwest, the delta of the Danube forms a border with Romania. The only mountains are the Carpathian Mountains, and the Rainbow Mountains. So, um, this Carpathians and the Caucasians and the Colombians and a lot of things. So, Hora, Huera, and the Crimean Mountains. So we'll add one more list of Crimean Mountains. So there is Volen, Podillia Upland, and Central Russian Upland, Russian Federation, near the Sea of Azov. The snow melts from the mountains, then they give rise to the waterfalls. So we'll finish this off and suddenly go to the Crimean Mountains. So, so there was an accident at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, 1986. Recycling toxic household waste is still in its infancy in Ukraine. Then the soil. So the Cornosem soil may be divided into three broad groups. So then there's biodiversity. Ukraine is home to a diverse assemblage of animals, fungi, microorganisms, and plants. And the animals, so there is a speckled ground squirrel, the white storks, and um so there's Lynx, so it's Lynx, and wolves, wild boars, and martens. And so there's a contingent of brown bears and Ukraine's lakes and river beavers, otters, and mink make their home. Whilst in the waters, carp, bream, and catfish are the most common found species of fish. Um, Rodents such as hamsters and gophers are found in large numbers. So usually the animalic names are also different and different uncommon English names. So it's about the zoological names. So if we go deep into zoology, we can learn more about it. But unfortunately, there are more than 6,600 species of fungi in our planet. So, including lichen commerce species. So there is climate of Ukraine. Uh, so temperate and subtropical precipitation is disproportionately distributed. So again, coming to the precipitation, found in Ukraine again. So the precipitation is disproportionately distributed. So it's the highest in the west and north, and lowest in the east and south east. Politics. So constitution of Ukraine. It's a parliamentary system. So the president, parliament, and government. Then courts and law enforcement. Then prosecutors have great powers than most European countries. then foreign relations and peacekeeping operations. And administrative divisions and the armed forces. So there was Operation Atalanta, was a part of the EU National Force off the coast of Somalia for 2 months. So it was partnership with the NATO and the economy. So it was hyperinflationary levels, and so there was privatization too. And the National Bank of Ukraine building is given. So it looks just like the Jaipur building, and so Antonov AN-225 Maria is the largest wingspan of any aircraft in operational service. Ukraine has launched 6 self-made satellites and 101 launch vehicles and continues to design spacecrafts. So well done, Ukraine. So then the corporations, a launch of Zenith 3 SL rocket from the Sea launch platform Ocean Odyssey. Then the transport. So there's a company name which is something like an Egyptian script. So Ukr Zelis Nitsia and Kiev Borispil is the largest international airport. Ukraine International Airlines and energy, fuel resources. So they produce and process their own natural gas and petroleum. So there was shale gas and power generation. There's nuclear power plants too, and renewable energy source, solar power, and internet, and IT, and tourism. So skiing, hiking, fishing in the Black Sea. It's a popular summer destination. So there are 7 wonders of the Ukraine and 7 natural wonders. So the demographics, and the population decline, and fertility and natalist policies, urbanization, and the language, And the religion, so Saint Sophia Cathedral in Kiev and Saint Nicholas Roman Catholic Cathedral in Kiev. And uh, and famines and migrations, already we have spoken about it, and the health. So there's a Red Cross Society and the People's Republic, and education, then the regional differences. So the culture, the Orthodox Christianity, so the Easter egg, known as Sankey, has long roots in Ukraine. So there's wedding tradition, embroidery, and the weaving, the folk dress culture, and Ukrainian folklore. And so the literature, it's going on like a hill. So we'll end up with this, and so there's about the architecture too. And okay, thank you, Ukraine. We'll make next move on to our next country. Thank you.